Welcome everyone to the April 30th, 2025 meeting of the Revitalization Trust Fund. Keep in mind that this meeting is being recorded, that we're not aware of anyone else actually recording the meeting. If you are, that you need to notify the chair. But remember also that because you are on live recording, that whatever you don't want shown on your screen is important to keep in mind. So we will kick this off by doing a approval of the March minutes, which went out with the Zoom link and the other information. So if we have a motion to be able to approve I'll move to approve the March minutes.
Motion to approve.
All in favor?
Favor, aye.
Everyone else? Karina? Thumbs up there. Okay.
Me too.
And Carol does too. So the minutes are approved.
So we have you and I, and we have Joan O'Connor
Yeah. And Karina?
and Grant.
Karina.
Oh, Karina.
Karina. Yeah.
Oh, Karina Kramer.
Yeah, she's over there. All righty. And so first agenda item is that we are the updates on the Soder home, the Tom Leary and Ron Sockel benches, that all three of those benches, oh, sorry, my hay fever is a little bit harsh today. That's all three of those benches have come in. That while Eric was recovering, that a friend of mine stepped in, and the two of us built three benches at the DPW weekend ago, 2 weekends ago, and I just got a message from Park and Forestry that they have moved into place both the Soderheim bench, which is in Avery Square, and the other one is the Ron Sockel bench, which is now at Memorial Field. We're still waiting for one more piece for the Ron Sockel bench, which is the concrete pad. And then as soon as that arrives, that the Park and Forestry will prepare the ground to be able to get it flushed into the lawn section where it's going. And then the bench will just be placed on top of that. But for the moment, one of the things we were trying to be able to do is to get the Ron's bench in place before May 6th, because that's his birthday. And his wife's birthday is May 28th. So we had them basically asked Park and Forestry to be able to put the bench at least in place in where it's going to go until the pad shows up. And then we'll just move the bench over and, prepare the ground and then put it back in place afterwards. But if there's any chance, since the Ron is not well at the moment, that if there's any chance that he can get out, or at least so his wife can get there to be able to see the bench, we wanted to make sure we could do it as part of a celebration of his birthday. So Ron will be turning 95. Mm-hmm. And although you would never believe it, because his wife is so much of an ever-ready bunny, but she's 92, and just constantly full of energy and always looking to be able to participate and do all kinds of things. So it's very excited to be able to get this in place. So the third bench, which is the Tom Leary bench, is completed as far as the building of the bench. But Eric, why don't you jump in and give any updates you have in terms of Eric's been wonderful about being able to coordinate with a contractor who can actually install it, because this one has to be installed in concrete footings right at the end of the ramp as you go up to Avery.
Actually, I just got off a text message conversation with him about half hour ago because I wanted to check in before this evening. And he's gonna get back to me shortly with a day towards the end of next week. We've got some days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, look a little potential rain. So he's thinking towards the end of the week it looks dry. And Paul, as soon as I have that date, I'll get it to you so that we can have it properly marked out and they can move the bench into the location for him to install.
That's great. And yeah, because I won't be around. I'm away on the 10th. So
Okay.
as early as we can during next week, that would be great.
Yep. I'm actually away on the 10th also. So I'm thinking Thursday or Friday next week. Again, as soon as he was on his way home, he was going to check his calendar and schedule and then get back to me.
That's great. Yeah, if we can make it Thursday, that would be terrific. Well, obviously everything's weather permitting, so
Yeah.
that's great. So that will be those three benches all being installed. And so we're at two out of three right now, which is great. Um, and we have two other benches that are uh, inquiries are sort of in process now. One is a bench that is at what's called the Valenti Path, um, which is right in the neighborhood. I'm trying to remember what the cross street is for this, but it's right in the neighborhood where a postal carrier um, walked his route every year for, I believe it was 43 years.
Gee,
He walked the same route. And the people in his neighborhood, in the neighborhood that he serviced, absolutely loved him. And his family, um, and this gentleman who's organizing this, who is the union steward for the post office, that his family just, said that he loved his job. He just loved getting up in the morning and going off to be able to do that route. And he was very fortunate because the people liked him so much that he was able to keep that same route for all those years. And he actually passed away on his route.
oh my gosh.
So for, someone who absolutely loved his job, um, he basically never missed a day.
That's unusual.
So, so it's a great
Oh my
tribute,
God.
to him. And also, something that is sort of is really an example of how you can aspire in life to do something that you really love and do it well, and have it be, just a beautiful accomplishment in your life. And so I think it's a terrific thing to be able to have the post office rally to be basically do a bench at that point. So that's one of the ones in process. I'm writing up the information now to be able to go. It's got to go to the Conservation Commission because it's a conservation path that's right there. And it's on that land. And then the Select Board, it'll go to both places. So they're both um, approved on it. And the second one is actually a bench that will be placed right in front of Starbucks in the Heights. Currently, when the old bench wore out in front of Starbucks, which is one of the old concrete and wood slat benches, that the town moved in one of their blank e-pay benches to have a bench in front of Starbucks, and which was great. But this group of five gentlemen who all are bike riders, they've been doing this for a number of years, always meeting at Starbucks after as either part of their ride or after their ride, to be able to get together and just enjoy each other's company and be able to have a very consistent socialization. And so since that was their meeting point, they asked, is it possible to be able to do one there? And I spoke to the DPW and said, hey, if we've got a celebration bench that we could put in place of it, can we move the blank bench, just redeploy it to another another spot? Because there are a number of places around town that we can put those benches. And they were like, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So So there's two more basically in the works for for people to be able to have more of the celebration benches. And since we don't really have any of the celebration, we have two celebration benches that are actually part of the town common still, the ones that are to the left and the right of the bus stop, which Park and Forestry did a wonderful job uh, taking the cobblestones and bricks and so on that were stones that were all used to be able to have them when they were in place before they put the new bus stop in, which widened it out and so on. And they reconfigured both those spots so that those benches could remain to the right and the left of the bus stop because there's really only one bench to sit inside the bus stop. So, whether if it's a nice day, this basically gives you four positions outside and then one or possibly two inside for people who are waiting for the bus. So, so that was a terrific modification that they were able to do just recently. So that's pretty much where that's the updates on on all the things that have been moving around. Let's see, Volunteer Path, Starbucks, we got that. Um, we haven't really had any update on the Ridge Hill wall mural because I'm waiting for Speed Pro to be able to have time to get back out to do an updated estimate, just to make sure that that all the pricing is still in line. Um, but what is going on is that you probably saw in our newsletter that if you clicked on the video, that's as soon as you start to scroll down inside the newsletter, that it actually tells the story of not only the Revitalization Trust Fund, but it also uh, shows the Ridge Hill wall mural in place. It also shows the train mural in place on the building as part of the collage of images that are in there, so that we have visible examples. So if people are interested in sponsoring those two things, and of course the art gallery, any of those three things, that they get to see those images there, and then we have other videos that basically explain those things separately. So it's going out twice in the newsletter. It's been posted to Needham MA as far as one of the videos goes. We'll do some regular postings to Needham MA, which will be the video that tells the story of the and encourages people to donate to the Revitalization Trust Fund. Um, so we're starting so those campaigns are now being rolled out. So we'll have more visibility throughout the town. And um, on the other agenda was just basically getting the updated pricing um, on the train mural, which we got back. And so, that's basically $15,000 to be able to do that one. But and so it's a little more expensive than it was a few years ago when we originally put the thing together. But now a couple of things that were incorporated already was that the landlord, and this is the space that is inside the Chapel Street parking lot, and it's right across from the James, and this is the merger. If you watch the video in the newsletter, that it actually takes the train station as it was, beautifully constructed, and one of the Needham trains, which was like the most elaborate, beautiful train, and it has a picture of the train with all the uh, uh, why am I blanking on the name of the not the staff, it's the conductors and all the and the and the engineer and so on, all lined up in front of the train for the photograph across Great Plain Avenue, right in Needham Center. And when you look to the far left of it, if you look closely in front of the train, you can actually see a horse and buggy pulling up during the photograph towards the front of coming from behind up to the where the front of the train is. So it's and the because the train station image is also right across from the James, which has the remaining pieces of what the train station was back in the glory days incorporated in, as part of their restaurant. So when people come out of the restaurant, they can actually be able to see the mural and see what the train station looked like before it burned. And my understanding is the reason it burned was because there was a building across Great Plain Avenue um, that was two two or three stories high, all wooden structure. Something caught it on fire, and that the ashes from that building blew over onto the roof of the train station, basically caught it on fire and burned it. So, back then they basically had bucket brigades and, those types of things to be able to, they, had limited resources to be able to get a lot of water onto a building if it caught fire and to respond very quickly. So, uh, if something else caught on fire and they were trying to fight one that was really blazing and the other one's over here, I'm sure it was a much more complicated way to be able to try to deal with it. So, fortunately, we do have some remnants of it left, and we have an image that shows how beautiful it was originally. So that's the idea of that one. Let's see. The let's go to the update on the profile that that uh, Michael Balin, you might remember him, that Jessica created the contact with him, and he was a sponsor for, excuse me, he was a sponsor for one of the profiles uh, back in 2023,
Yeah.
and so he said during 2024, he said, "Well, um, I'd like to be a sponsor in 2025." And I said, "Okay, I remember that." So as soon as we got into January of 2025, I called him up. He said, "Hey, Michael, remember when you said you wanted to be a sponsor?" He goes, "Yes, I did." He said, "So I would love to be a sponsor in 2025." So, um, so anyway, we've got, yeah. So he's already put in the sponsorship money for the next profile. The next profile that we'll talk about in just a second is the upcoming one, which Karina can tell us about. And Karina, you're on.
All
Hopefully we can.
right, so I put together a little write-up about Allie Raisman. Is it Raisman or Reisman?
Raisman, I believe.
Um, and I think it's pretty solid. I found some good images. I hope you guys liked them. I'm having a hard time getting in touch with Allie herself, or the family. I would appreciate any leads if you guys have any. Because I think we're ready to go. We just need their, seal of approval.
Yeah. Well, and we definitely need more images though.
Okay.
Seymour's done some preliminary ones to be able to start to fill it in, but with all the different things that she's been involved in, and of course, in particular, what we want is at least two or three photos from her being here in Needham. Um,
Hmm.
one of the ways we could potentially get it is to pull it up out of her yearbook.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be one if you could research the yearbook photos.
Okay, good idea.
And then I'll make some calls to the town because I know that they have contacts with her.
Yeah,
Um,
I tried a lot. Like I thought I found her PR agent, but that person didn't reply. I tried her on Instagram DM, but that didn't work. So,
I might
well,
have a contact for that too. I know her uncle Eric Raisman, so
oh, great.
I can reach out to him and let him know what we're doing and see if I can get through to her via him.
That would be great. that would be great because we want to be able to stay ahead of this in terms of building it.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to have the thing, even though it doesn't go up until um, let's see, we've got April, May, June. Yeah, so it doesn't go up until July 1st, but we want to, but I'd like to have the whole thing basically built and ready to go by hopefully by the end of May, if we can. So, so we've got a little bit of time to pull this together, but we want to make it so that this is, really a representation that people all over the town will be able to say, "Oh yeah, I know that, and I remember this and thing," and so that so that there's a good density of photos that really represent her, um, particularly because she did so many different appearances within the town, um, and they even had an Alley Raceman Day, and she also, um, I believe, she also was helping with some of the training of some of the aspiring gymnasts for a while she was around. So, and honestly, I don't know what she's doing now. So that would be cool to be able to understand. Do you know what she's doing now, Karina?
It looked like she was mostly doing the news, broadcasting, traveling, doing some cool stuff for the sport of gymnastics.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so commentary and that kind of thing.
That's what it looks like. Kind of just social media, different promoting of the sport.
I'll talk to the town also and see if I can find any direct connections to her so we can get you in touch with her and see what we can come up with.
Okay,
So
cool. Thank you.
yeah, I'll make some phone calls tomorrow and see what I can dig up. Great. And just thinking ahead, that we have one more profile for the rest of 2025. Since we've been very fortunate to have the first two already sponsored and certainly in the works. Um, so between you and Jessica, think about what the next profile might be.
Sounds good.
All righty. Anything else on that subject, or we'll continue to
I'm
move
good.
it? Okay. And thank you very much, Corinna, for all the work you've been doing in terms of being able to do this. I'm totally psyched that you wanted to be able to take on helping with this whole profile uh, work, and it just makes it even more enjoyable and fun, and it also helps to balance the load of doing these things, which always have a decent amount of work to be able to pull together, just in the research side. That it's great that you wanted to be able to do that, and thank you for stepping up and taking
No
it on.
problem.
Yeah. Let's see. Next is the Charles River cleanup, and I'm going to let Eric tell the story of that one while I just sit back and hope my eyes don't itch too much.
You need a cold compress for this.
Oh, yes. That's coming.
So the Charles River cleanup was rather successful this year, to be honest, if you ask me. Not
I
remember
would agree.
exactly how many people we had, maybe
12.
10, 12.
Yeah, we had 12.
Um, Most impressively, we're a group of 4 or 5 young teenage boys who came out and collected a lot of trash and a lot of glass. And we had a very nice police officer again escort us around for the morning, and finished it with a nice little lunch over at Hearth, which was very kindly donated by them. So I think it was quite successful. Did you say 500 pounds we collected this year?
That's what it was.
So we
500
beat
pounds of trash we pulled out of the woods
we beat our record
by 300 pounds.
by 300 pounds. in a smaller area. I think we covered more ground last year, but we beat the weight limit this year. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was quite successful, and I'd say we prepare to do it again next year, and maybe we pick a different location, or um, I'm sure there's plenty of areas in and around Needham, and potentially more along the Charles that need cleanup because the trash around the water is probably the biggest concern. So
Yeah. No, I think that was, I think that's great. Yeah. And one of the things, and the high school students get community credit,
mhm.
community service credit for doing that. And I reached out to the HR department and then to the kids to make sure that they all knew that they needed to go to the HR department and fill out their forms so that they get the credit. I didn't know how that process worked until I spoke to her and they said, yes, well, what happens is really they're responsible. It's nothing that I fill out. It's just that they're responsible to be able to go there and actually, oops, and to actually fill out a form. And I get, but I gave her the details of what they had done and all that kind of stuff. So she would know that they were coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what was the something else that was related to that? Oh yeah, as far as being able to um, find another location that we want to look at places where conservation land abuts streets.
Yep.
Because those are the areas where the town doesn't really have a formalized program to be able to have those things cleaned.
Yeah.
They do a lot of stuff with trash on the streets or other types of areas, but we can really help fill that gap by using this. And I thought it was really interesting also because remember there was the police officer said that the town actually has a program to help kids who, have done things that have gotten themselves into trouble, but they weren't, you know, they weren't serious enough things that they'd actually, end up with um, a legal problem. But they can go work in a program of community service that helps with the whole idea of being able to, change their perspective on how to be able to interact and help out and do those kind of things. And so he said, he was going to take it back to to his connection at the police department and see about seeing if they would like to be able to participate in it next year. So, we may even have more people next year, which would be really
Great.
cool. So yeah, and what a greater residual thing to be able to have to not only help out, the high school students to be able to get community service, but also to help out other kids who, might be, leaning towards the wrong way in terms of getting themselves into trouble and be able to participate in something that was, at least from my perspective, was a lot of fun. There was a lot of great cooperation and people helping each other in all these variety of different places. And as Eric mentioned, we had the glass cleanup crew. We came across this. They had built a new building in one of the areas near there, and it looked like they had bulldozed like a lot of the stuff that was sort of the contents of the building over into a pile. But part of that pile had just mountains of broken glass. And so these guys, I said, we made sure they all had gloves on and they were very careful about the whole thing. And we said, don't work to yank anything out of the ground, but if you can find any of the pieces on the ground that you can carefully pick up and clean up, just do it carefully. And they went through and took out, we had a big, heavy bag of broken glass from all these jars and it looked like, old china and all that kind of stuff that is just lying there. So when we walked away from the site, basically all you saw was the leaves and it was dramatically cleaned up. So yeah, they were a great team of people. So that's awesome. And Eric, thank you again for contacting Ivan and at Hearth, and to be able to ask him if he would, donate some food to it, which he did. And a great shout out to Hearth, because Ivan does so much to be able to give back to the town in a whole variety of different ways. And this is just one more example of how he really feels that giving back is an important part of his life. So, all right, now next is basically um, fundraising. So one of the things that as a committee that we have to get much more engaged in from an individual basis is basically being sort of evangelists for donating to the Revitalization Trust Fund. Um, Essentially just being able to tell the people that that you're part of the committee, talk about some of the projects, and just ask them directly. If you can, it would be great if you would just donate to the Revitalization Trust Fund, whatever you can do. That if you wanted to be able to sponsor a project, we have those. If you want to be able to just donate to the general fund, that we have the ability to be able to do that. But we, right now are absolutely out doing, very direct fundraising, and we need to network through the people we know, because we've had, two of the regular sponsors that we've had for a long time have unfortunately not, or I guess decided not to be able to donate to the fund this year. At the same time that we have our banner and flag contract, which increased over $1,600 in this one year.
Mm.
So it's the first time we've ever had an increase like that. But in terms of some of the things that have been happening, that their costs are going up, and we have to work with this. So we've basically got an $8,000 gap that we want to be able to fill. And I'm out making phone calls to be able to connect with a variety of the people that I know, to ask them to be able to help us support it so we can close that gap as quickly as possible. But all of you, need to be much more assertive in terms of being able to go out and actively ask people to do this, because we've run the banner and flag program now since 2004. And we've always had, consistent support for the program through all this time. And this is the first time we've actually run into into a support problem, over all this time. So, people come and go in terms of their, decisions to be able, it just, personal life decisions to be able to support one thing versus the other. And that's totally understandable. It's just that we ended up with sort of three things that all fell into place all in the same year. And it's something that we have to be able to address by reaching out to multiple sources and asking them to be able to donate to support the fund. So, um, if you need any, we have support materials for all this now. We have the video that I shot that tells about all the projects and asks them directly to be able to donate. We have the second video that we've had up on our website for quite a while, which tells the story of it also, and also asks them to be able to donate. We have stories that tell videos that tell the stories behind 14 of the different projects. Those are all directly available and linkable on our website. Um, and of course, we want to get as many people as possible to sign up to our newsletter, so that we have, ideally, we'd like to have a couple of thousand people on our newsletter, so that people are staying informed. And that gives us people who we know that are actually, really in tune with the work that we're doing, to be able to reach out and be able to regularly donate. The one thing that we still have not been able to accomplish town-wise is the is being able to have a uh, auto payment set up with the town so that somebody could donate to the Revitalization Trust Fund and donate maybe, $25 a month or $100 a month or whatever, whatever it is they wanted to do, but that have it automatically donate to the fund on a monthly basis um, until they decide to stop it. And that would be an enormous help to being able to create a source of stabilized income for the fund and allow us to be able to be much more versatile in terms of the things we do with in terms of funding projects faster. But so far, although I've talked to the a town treasurer, and she's doing everything she can to look into it. She certainly understands the issue. It has to do with the vendor that they use not actually offering a structure that allows auto payments. So, but she's working to see if she can come up with some way of being able to make that happen. And if we can, boy, that would be that would be huge. Um, but in the meantime, it's, as always, it's up to us to be able to go out and spread the word. And I can't emphasize enough the importance of being able to do this and to find people who, right now, if they would just donate to the fund to be able to help to support us, to close this gap for this year, that would be great. But what we're ultimately looking to do, with the assumption that these, other donors probably won't, may not be back, that we need to be able to fill that gap with a variety of people that can that do this as an annual donation. So, um, what are your thoughts about any of this? And tell me what any ideas you have in terms of being able to help to close the gap.
I mean, I think it's important if we can try to get this payment method, linked onto our website. Um, it seems rather simple, but I'm assuming that there's probably some back end stuff that needs to be cleared up first. So I get that. But other than that, I think that we really need to just think about our friend group, especially, in and around Needham, people who, enjoy everything that Needham has to offer, the restaurants, the open space, people that have kids that are in the programs. I think that those are all relatively easy asks, and once they start digging into some of the projects that we've put out, I think that they may be inspired to donate, more than just once. So
Mhm.
to your
What kind of
point, we gotta shake some trees.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And what I want to know is, I've tried to put together a good selection of different resources that you can use when somebody says, "Well, can you tell me more about the program?" And you could literally shoot them the link for the video that we've posted now in the newsletter that basically tells the story and directly asks them to donate. And in the newsletter itself, one of the things that I'll do is, and I'm going to make a note right now, is I'm going to send you all the link to the newsletter that that will give them, the videos. It'll give them the newsletter itself, which has all these things embedded in it. As well as, of course, the newsletter always contains donate buttons. So, which takes them directly to the donation page of the town for the Revitalization Trust Fund. So, uh, when anybody asks about, can you tell me more about the fund? You can basically just send them the newsletter, and that newsletter, that specific edition of the newsletter was designed to be able to outline the not only the overall fund, but also within it, when you scroll down, it also tells you about the 4 projects that are waiting for sponsorship, uh, and including the banner and flag program, and has a direct appeal within the newsletter to be able to donate to that. So, the Banner and Flag program is our only, um, continuous financial obligation that requires annual funding. So, we knew that when we took it on, and we've been highly successful with it for all these years. So we just basically have to, address the situation we have at the moment, and rally some people to be able to help us. And I will, obviously I'll continue to reach out to the people that I'm, connected with that I know, to ask them to help too. But it's really got to be a committee-wide fundraising effort. And so, Karina, you're, new to the fund. It was certainly one of the things that we talked about when you were originally coming on board. And anything you can do through your network. Certainly the town has been, a partner with Olin for a long time. So if there's anything that Olin would like to be able to do, to be able to help, to become a sponsor of the, of the Banner and Flag program, or just a, continuous sponsor. If there are avenues that you can, connect with through them, um, that would be terrific. So
Well,
that's
well, how many people are subscribed to the newsletter?
There are 73.
Oh, we need more than that.
No question about it.
Yeah. Okay. What about a push effort? Maybe get the email of all the businesses in town and push out an appeal to them, to subscribe to the newsletter and tell them more about what goes on in the fund. I mean, how do you get people? We all of us only know so many people. How do you reach the people that potentially, could support us? That's the big question, right?
Yes, and
So
that's right.
what about pushing to the businesses? All businesses have an email address, right? So,
Yes. Well, actually, one of the things that's been interesting, and maybe JP can speak to this, is that uh, when the uh, through the work of the Envision um, group, that one of the challenges has been for that group is the fact that um, the systems that we have in place at the moment, and they're actively working to improve this too, but the systems we have at the moment, since we lost the newspaper, that and Hometown Weekly doesn't really cover these kind of things, that we have the Needham Observer, we have the News You Needham, and then posting to the Needham MA Facebook page. And primarily, those are the three ways that we have as communication. And we, clearly can see that, that was not enough. That
right,
a lot of people didn't follow any of those sources.
yeah.
Uh, and so one of the things that we asked about was does the town have a listing of all the email addresses and of both the owners of the businesses as well as the landlords, so that anytime we have anything municipal that's going to affect, their businesses and so on, that they could have a direct email, multiple emails to those direct email addresses, so that the information can really get out there. And certainly, if there's a way to be able to have the Revitalization Trust Fund utilize that outreach, that would be a terrific way
So,
to do this.
were you able to procure a list? Or
Well,
does it exist?
Well, that's a question for JP. Since you are the director of the manager of economic development, sir, can I put
It's
you on the spot?
and we can't really like send stuff out to like that's asking for donations, and the town definitely cannot do that.
I'll do that.
Um, so that's where the kind of the line is there. But as Paul went into, like, I mean, we send out, I mean, with Envision, I mean, we have a business list that has about, I think it's right around 400 emails on it, and Amy sends out stuff in the newsletter, which I mean, she could probably include something in the newsletter, which I know she includes, like if there's the unveilings and that, and
Yeah.
even the read rates on some of that stuff is very low. It's difficult now to cut through with the bombardment of emails and everything that's out there, and plus everybody. I mean, I get stuff myself from, that looks like it comes from organizations that I had signed up for, and is it the organization? Are my friends still part of this organization? Are their kids still on this team? Like, it's you're
Yeah.
inundated. I mean, I know everybody gets inundated on stuff of asking for money, and then it's the legitimacy. Is it actually a real person, place, or that you're donating to? So I think that's why, like Paul said, it's the hand-to-hand stuff. I mean, when I used to serve on a education foundation, it it wasn't emails and stuff like that were not the ways that you bringing money in. It was relationships you had with people and businesses and things like that that individuals would turn. And the unfortunate part right now is that, like I said, having done this, when the economy starts to get like this, that's the first thing that everybody looks at and starts to scale back on what they're
Right.
giving and donating and figuring out, it. And if they gave $100, it's only $50 now. And as Paul has seen with Envision, I mean, I think some of the root of this is, on top of the projects, there's also so much other uncertainty that's going on right now that they're scared, and they
Yeah.
rightfully have a right to be. And
Right.
we've sent out tons of emails. I mean, it was posted on the Facebooks, but I mean, we're having business sessions on Envision tomorrow to try to figure out how can we appease it and show them that, I mean, no one in the town wants to cause any harm to the businesses, and that's what we have to get to them. These projects like this are supposed to help them. It's not supposed to be
Yeah.
anything that's detrimental, and work through it and make sure that they're heard. And if there's things that we can do to make them more successful, 100% we'll do it.
Okay, well, what if you, I mean, before you even ask for money, people have to know what the organization is about. And I think you have a problem right there, right? I mean, not enough people understand what the group does. So maybe you could push something that just said, described, excuse me, the committee and some of the things they do, and say, if you'd like more information, right here. Just to make awareness, to raise the level of awareness, because I think that's low. And then if you get the awareness, then you can move to the next stage of getting the money. I know we need the money now, but you really, people need to know, sorry, I'm losing my voice. People need to know and understand what the committee does. I mean, before I didn't know what the Circle of Hope there. I didn't know where that came from. I wondered, but I didn't know. And I think a lot of people are in the same position. You're sort of half aware of these things, but you don't really understand, the whole story behind it. So just to understand what the committee does and raise general awareness, I think is the first step.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And then say, if you'd like to know more, then we'd be happy to add you to our newsletter list or something like that, And then if they ask for that, well, then you're not asking them directly for money, are you? I mean, you're giving them information, and they ask for the newsletter. And if it asks for money in the newsletter, well, they can do what they want.
I mean, and you can put out there, I mean, I think NCRTF on the website has all the information on that, which has, I mean, and I think that's, Paul and I kind of worked to build out the one section that shows everybody from the,
Right, but who knows where the website is?
but we could put other, I think we're just going to finish there, to put other things on there. I mean, it's on the Needham, government website.
But, I personally don't wander around the Needham government website, I mean, I'd have to go looking specifically. I'd have to have a reason to go look. And that's what I'm saying. People don't have a reason to find out. They don't just stumble on it. It just seems to me that it's a communication issue.
Can we do a QR code on around town on all of our artwork and installations?
I think that would be a good idea, is to put a QR code on
I
everything
mean,
that you
it
guys have
doesn't really
done. And
look
then, you
great,
know,
but you
whether
know,
it's from
on
the
the
bench programs
benches,
to that takes people to it. I mean, at
That's
least the
good.
kids out there will scan it.
that's what I'm
Right.
saying. Yeah,
That's
maybe it's not
that's a
really
good
tasteful to put
idea.
them on
That's
the
good.
dedication
Right.
benches, but I mean, just a little
Yeah.
QR code
Well,
there, a little QR
I
code
yeah.
on the bronze statues that we have in the center of town. And I know the QR code on the from Needham to the World brings you to a video about the person, but like maybe it starts by bringing you to our page and then
Right.
just things like that,
Yeah, that's good, Eric. That's good.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say one of the things we could do is we could I can just get a QR code sticker
Ah,
You
that
just start slapping it around the yeah.
yeah, with that, yeah, we could put, and then and it would have information on it. It would say, learn more about the Revitalization Trust Fund, or we'll come up with something,
Yeah.
something where you'd be interested enough to actually even scan it in the first place, right?
Yeah.
But something of a question or something like that, so that would be on it, and then when they would scan it, that we could have that. One is we could put it on the little bench which has the little girl and the little boy, the Once Upon a Time sculpture.
right, right.
Obviously, it's something that we could, actually on the sign that says, once the circle of peace is repaired and back in place, that you could put on the sign that says, please don't climb, enjoy it, but don't climb on it. That you could put a sticker on that little sign that says, learn more about where this statue came from, and that
Right.
kind of thing.
Right.
And
I think that's
that is a
good.
great idea. We just have to make sure that we keep up on the QR codes, because right now, one of the biggest things that municipalities are having happen on pay parking meters, as well as donation things for various things, like if it'll say, oh, scan this QR code and get a donation,
Oh,
somebody gets a little sticker, puts their sticker on top of it, and then redirects you to a website that looks just like your website, and then
Uh,
you're donating money to their
the
account,
wrong
which
place. Yeah.
always, as I tell everybody with a parking meter now, do not scan a QR code. That if the parking meter has a QR code, find the app on your phone and just enter it manually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And no, I agree. And well, the thing that we would do is we would just have it scan directly to, say,
Website.
yeah,
Yeah.
the MA
yeah,
page,
right.
and it would say Needham MA. And if
Or to
if
the
it's
website.
.gov, and if it comes up on your phone and it doesn't say needhamma.gov, then it's
Yeah.
somebody's.
Right, right.
Uh, so we can do that's absolutely true, and that's a good point, JP, because people are trying to manipulate some of these things. You're trying to do something that helps people, but you also got
Yeah,
to be aware that you got to do it in a way where they can feel secure that what they're clicking on is real.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah. So, but that's a great idea. So um, I will come up with a QR code. And the thing is, we can use it, the simplicity of this is the fact that we could run off a strip of QR code stickers, all linking to the same link.
Right.
It's just going to go to Needham MA that, people can get a lot of information there.
That's
And
right.
um, I'll also um, I'll do a new image that I can send to JP to sign up for the newsletter. That's, I think, um, more direct. Like when you hit the site, you don't have to have people decipher whether it's to sign up for something or not. Sometimes images connected with that actually decrease the amount of action that people take because they get involved in the image and then they don't actually take the action. So I'm going to change the image over to just say, get our newsletter now. And, you
Okay.
can,
Keep it simple.
yeah, so that it just says that, because the donate button is there. So that's all it says is donate, and we'll do the same thing with sign up. So that all of that's simplified and clear. And I'll send that over to actually to you, JP, when I send you over the new image for Ben Carlin.
Okay.
So because JP's been great about posting each one of as we unveil each one. He posts it up on the site. He puts up the story with it and the link to the QR code that matches it. So thanks again for being our webmaster at the same time.
It took me a while to get it set the first time, but we're good now. Now it's not too bad of a lift.
Yeah, yeah. No, you've been doing great. And so let me just double check, but are there any other items just basically to wrap up since we're coming right to 6 o'clock? I have completed the agenda on here. And is there any other comments about what we've been talking about or things that were relevant to it? Again, let me know if you, just before we, get to that, let me know whatever what you would like me to send you to be able to give you more resources so that as soon as somebody says, yeah, well, that sounds kind of interesting. No, I didn't know where that came from. Well, I'll send you a link and this will tell you all about the fund and or anything else. I can send you the video that tells about the fund or the link to the newsletter that we've published recently.
Mhm.
Any of those kind of things. If tell me what kinds of things would you like me to be able to put together, and then I can literally send you a document with the links for these different things, so you could copy and paste them if you were going to send them off in an email, an
Yeah.
email.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So give me a holler, and I'll put together the things that I have anyway and send that off to you.
Okay.
So that you have the ones that I know of and anything else you need in terms of images or things like that that you'd like to be able to help distribute that way. That would be great. But we do, I can't emphasize enough the necessity of being able to get out there and um, reach out to the people that you know and help us, just close this gap as quickly as we can so that we can, continue on with our contract for the banners and flags.
Mhm.
So
Good.
that's all I've got. Any other comments or final things?
No, that's it.
That's it.
All righty then. Well, then do I have a motion to adjourn the April 30th, 2025 meeting of the Revitalization Trust Fund?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor? It's a wrap. Thank you
Good night,
tremendously.
everybody.
All right.
Thank you all.
Take
You
care,
bet. We'll
guys.
see you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.